Hello and welcome back to my craft room. It's my birthday. Thank you to everybody who sent their good wishes. I'm feeling a lot better now, thank you. I think I've got the tail end of some kind of virusy thing, but that vertigo, that weird vertigo thing, seems to have more or less resolved itself, so that's a relief. Obviously I can't spend the whole day in my craft room on my birthday. People coming over and things, but I did just want to get my Celebrating 61 project started. So if you didn't see the little intro video I did last week, I'll just quickly explain what's in my head. I wanted to find a way to put a positive spin on how I feel about reaching this stage in my life. So I thought, right, I was born in 61, I'm 61 years old, I'm going to find 61 things, small things, big things, things that make me smile, things that make me happy, things I'm grateful for. And I'm going to make 61 little silk pieces which will eventually form a small quilt. It'll only end up 40 by 50 centimeters, so it's not massive, and it'll probably become a cushion cover or something. So I've already got 61 pieces of silk prepared, 61 little images, symbols that represent the things that bring me joy in my life, and I'm going to pull one out each day. I'm going to do it in 61 days, so I aim to finish on the last day of April. Now, I also had a thought since the video last week. I thought, well, a lot of people who watch my videos don't like sewing particularly, and I thought it'd be quite nice to find a way to do the same idea but not sewing. So let me show you what I've got. I'm sure this is all I'm a bit overexcited. I've just had a lovely time opening loads of presents. Oh, I'll come and show you them in a couple of days because yeah, I've been sport rotten, and yeah, okay, I digress. Right, so what I've thought I would do is do a non-sewing version. So if you can see, okay, my camera does not want to focus, I'm not going to risk moving that again, but hopefully you can see that. What I've done is this was the original layout of my quilt. So each of these pieces is 8 by 5 centimeters, these are 5 by 5, and then there's this bigger one in the middle which is 8 by 10. If anybody would like a PDF version of this, please let me know in the comments and we'll sort it out. So what I've done is I've halved those measurements and I've cut them all out of little pieces of, this is mixed media, or was it, no, I think this was hot press watercolour paper, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use on it, and that'll take pretty much anything really. So I don't know if you've seen some of the amazing stuff people do with inchies or twinchies. That's the kind of thing I've got in mind. So I'm going to do a kind of doodly version of the quilt. So I'm going to do my 61 pieces in the silk and on the paper, and at the end I will assemble the silk quilt and like a quilt on paper. I hope that's all making sense. As usual, I'm not very good at planning what I'm going to say. I think I've said everything I need to. So the idea now is that in this bag I already have everything I need except for my needles and things to make my quilt pieces. So I've got my threads that I got from Steph Francis because I thought this is a perfect chance to use them, and I've got 61, where's the threads? I probably should keep them somewhere. I'll keep them in my little slow stitching bag. So in here I've got 61 random pieces of silk. I didn't think about the colours at all. I have done a rough layout. It's hard to believe that 61. Silk is so fine. And I've put on the back of each of them, I've already ironed on some really super soft, lightweight, fusible interfacing. And I've also got 61 little symbols drawn out representing 61 things that make me smile. So the idea is that each day I'm going to pick one of these at random and one of these at random, and I'm just going to do a very simple line stitch. It will need to be something simple because I'm not going to keep up otherwise. I'm going to put a link to Sarah Humphrey in the description box because, well, she does some amazing embroidery tutorials, but she's got at least a couple of videos showing different stitches you can use to do lettering. So I think I'm going to follow some of those just to give you some different stitches to try. But it's just essentially going to be a stitched version of a line drawing. Very, very simple. And then I will do some more decorative stitching when I put the quilt together at the end. But for these daily ones, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. So now what I've introduced to make life even more challenging is I'm going to then pick up the appropriate shaped piece of this watercolour paper and do a little doodled version. I'll probably just use things like my watercolour paints, paint pens, colour pencils, things like that, just to keep it easy. So that's the plan. I'm just going to try and knock out a quick video each day showing the square of the day, or the rectangle of the day, the piece of the day, and I'll maybe do the non-stitching one separate. I'm not sure yet because I've only really just thought of that today. So normally there'll be very short little videos. This is a bit longer because I'm sort of explaining what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to now close my eyes and just pick out a piece. The only piece I'm not going to do first is the central piece that says 61. Right, let's see, I've got hold of a bit. Have I got just one bit? If I haven't got just one bit, it'll be on the one on the top I'll go for. Okay, it's the one on the top. Okay, it's this one. Right. So this is my piece. I haven't left myself a lot of space there because one of the things I also want to do each day is just turn these edges over and baste, so that it's going to be easier at the end for me, but I've just about got enough to play with there. Right, so now I need to pick one of the paper pieces. Okay, what have we got? What have we got? First one. Again, not sure if I've got one or two. I'll take the top one. I'll take the top one. Oh God, what is that? What is that? Oh! Well, that's a coincidence, isn't it? Stitching, sewing. One of the things that brings me joy. Oh, I've got goose pimples. What a weird thing that is the first one out of 61 things. I'm starting a stitching project and that comes out. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. So I need to now find one of the little squares on here, and I will do the same thing as a little inchy. So people do amazing things on just inch square pieces. You know, real little mixed media pieces with a lot of depth to them. So I'm not going to do anything as complicated as that, but and I might use my lovely old vintage typewriter there to type out words where appropriate to illustrate what I'm, but you know, there may not be room. Okay, so I can't leave these laid out like that. I think these need to also go in the bag. And then this piece I shall keep because this was left over from cutting all of these. So that'll be, this is the size of the finished piece. So that's what I'll mount it all on in the end. So I need to keep that safe as well. What I'm going to do is just pencil on stitch here. The first thing I need to do is just baste all of this down. So I've got a nice neat square to work on. So I'm just going to turn off and I'll just do that. I mean, I'm just going to tack around. You don't need to watch me. Right, I've sort of just basted around. Let me get that to focus. There we are. My square. Now I might end up, being me, I quite like the look of what I call the background stitching, so I might just end up leaving that there. So I've deliberately picked a colour that I think fits in, but I could pull them out once I've put all my little quilt together at the end. So I'll see how I feel. And because the silk is so fine and it's a very lightweight interfacing, you can, in real life it's quite easy to see. I don't know how well the camera will pick it up. Oh, it won't if it doesn't focus. But yeah, I think you can see there I can make out my drawing underneath because I deliberately did it in quite a heavy black pen. So I wouldn't have to, you know, I wanted to make it all really easy. So I'm just going to use my friction heat erasable pen and I'm just going to trace that image onto here. And I think what I'm going to do, obviously this first day is a bit different, but what I'm going to do is each day I'll pull out my prompt and my square of or rectangle of silk, and I'll show you how the previous day came out. I'm not going to be doing any fancy techniques or anything like that. And I'm sure you don't want to listen to me waffle on for however long it takes me to stitch each of these pieces. So yeah, so tomorrow I'll come back on and show you how this one came out, and I'll pull tomorrow's prompt, and then the next day same again. And then I will also show you, I think what I might do is do separate little mini videos for the doodling ones. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll do it separate. You can tell I'm making this up as I go along. I only thought of the idea of doing this morning, and then once I got the idea in my head, I thought, yeah, that'd be really fun to do, and it would be an alternative idea for anybody that's watching that fancies doing this but doesn't like stitching or doesn't want to get into a big project like that. Although it's not going to be that big, it will be done in 61 days. Okay, so there's my little thing all drawn out. I think what I'm going to do is, because these are the threads that I'd like to use for this project. I've got my little chenille needle that I'm hoping, I know it will go through the silk and the interfacing fine. I'm hoping that because it's got a sharp point it will go through my fabric, but it's also got a large head, so it will take most of these threads. And they're lovely. I mean, these are a mixture of linen, rayon, silk, cotton. They're lovely, lots of different weights and textures. I'm thinking, because this is a needle, it would be quite nice if I can make this work, although it's very twisty and quite thick. But I think that would look quite good if I could make that be the needle. I'm even wondering if I might need to unravel it and use one strand of it to do that. I might need to do that. So I'm going to use that, and then I need to decide what colour to use for the actual thread that's going through the needle and the stitching. I think I'm going to do just a plain running stitch to show the stitching, and I think I'll do just a whipped running stitch just to give me a thicker, more solid line for the needle and the thread. So what do I do? I mean, that, oh, look at that. That won't show up enough. That would show quite well. I love my oranges with the pinks. Oh, I mean, really, I could just pick any of these at random. None of them would not work. Look at that together. That goes almost too well together, though. I think I need a contrast, don't I? I'm gonna do this one. Okay, right. Am I sure about that? or this one? This is going to come out so random. No, this one, because it's such a different texture. Okay, so yeah, you can see this is a really, now what is this one? Is this linen? Yeah, so this is linen. It's 60/3. Now I think 60 is 60 weight maybe, but I don't really understand all of that. According to my colleague at work that does understand all these things, the weight doesn't necessarily always translate to the thickness of the thread consistently. It depends on what type of thread it is as well, and the make and things. But you can see that this is a really fine, let me see if I can get that to focus. There we go. It's a really fine thread and a very different texture from this. Oh, just got a bit of that vertigo back then. It hasn't completely gone. I think it's when I'm looking up, or I don't know, tipping my head. Yeah. Okay, so that's that decision made. The doodling one, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I will probably replicate pretty much what's there, but I might do some more stitching around, or I might make it look like a zigzagged patch or something. That might be fun. Yeah, so I'll have a bit of a think about that, and I will do the doodling one in a separate little short video. Okay, so I hope all that kind of made sense. It'll make more sense when I come back tomorrow and I've done the first one, and then I'll pull the next one and it will all start to make sense, hopefully. I think this is going to be fun. I think it's a really nice way to start my 62nd year. Yeah, it does. It's always good to put a positive spin on things. Focus on the things that I feel really lucky to have in life. It sounds corny, but you know, it's true. It's true. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky just to have this space to sit and do this in, you know, apart from anything else. Anyway, enough waffle. Don't need to hear all that. Thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you come back again tomorrow to see how I get on with my first square and my first inchy. Okay, have a lovely day whatever you're doing. Thanks very much for joining me today. See you again soon.